I got off at 7 o'clock. The fire team that went up to Lake A, they come back and they get on the hot spot, and my scramble, we go out and do recon that day. And so at 7 o'clock, we changed positions, and I hadn't had anything to eat since yesterday, and I went down to the mess hall, got a cup of coffee and ordered breakfast. Before it came, the company runner came down and said, "Sir, there's a general sitting on the steps of the orderly room, and he's looking for you." And I said, "Well, let's go see what he wants with us." And he said, "Shit, no, he don't want us, he wants you." And I said, "Okay, I'll go." So it was a division command. I said, "Is it 1 star or 2? And he said, 2. I said, "That's the division commander." And he said, "Oh, okay." So I went up and we sat down on the wall, and he said, "Come over here, Lieutenant." I said, "Let's talk for a minute." He said, "Now let me get this straight. You took a perfectly good aircraft which was running out of fuel, a perfectly good aircraft which was out of ammunition, and you cut out all your lights and landed in the middle of a fucking firefight to pick up 4 alerts and run them out of there." And I said, "Yes, sir, what's your point?" And he said, "What possessed you to do that?" I said, "Sir, that's just what we do. That's our job, is to get them out." And he kind of shook his head and he said, "I've been wearing this uniform since before you were born, probably." He says, "I've been a lot of places and I've seen a lot of things, but I've never seen a more selfless act of heroism than that shit you pulled last night." I said, "Well, what was my alternative? Leave them there?" And he said, "No." He said, "One of these days I want to get you to take me for a ride up there in that front canopy." He said, "That is armored, isn't it?" I said, "No, sir." I said, "The thickest thing between you and Charlie is a 3/16 piece of plexiglass." And he said, "Hell, a 22 will go through that." And I said, "A June bug will go through it if it hits it just right." And he said, "Never mind, I don't think I want to go fly a mission with you." He said, "I'll just fly out around with you sometime." I said, "Okay." But he turned out to be a nice guy. He got killed a couple of months later.
He's not the same one you took up and he threw up in your cockpit, was he?
No. He was the division commander. He had his own aircraft, and he was always up flying around looking, seeing what they were doing on the ground. And somebody just opened up with a 51 caliber anti-aircraft gun, killed him, his adjutant, his sergeant major, the door gunner, the crew chief, and the 2 pilots, and his dog. Vapor. And one guy they never found. He either got blown out of the ship or he jumped when they were going down and got buried in some bushes or something. They never found him, but they know he was on there. He wasn't a bad acre. He was all right, and he was assistant division commander back in September, and this was in June.
67?
68.
68.
And he said, "Well," he said, "you look familiar." He said, "Were you at my predecessor's court-martial?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I was." And he said, "God damn, you were the first lieutenant that," second lieutenant. I said, "You were the second lieutenant that showed up and testified against this brigadier general I said, yes, sir. He said, what possessed you to do that? I said, because he was wrong. And he showed up by himself at the court-martial and presented a case himself. And he says, yeah, and you showed up with 28 witnesses from Ranger School, LERP School, Recondo School, all the instructors that said we were right and he was wrong. So they relieved him and made this guy the division commander. And he said, I never did thank you. And I said, well, the guy was an asshole. He said, yeah, he was an asshole. They sent him up to Fort Drum, New York, in charge of the ski school up there. So, which was a dead-end assignment.
Yeah.
First of all, nobody but an idiot is going to shoot at the Cobra. Because all he's got to do is lower the nose and you make a hole about this size and about this deep.
Didn't they have rockets that could follow you guys though? Or were they just shooting free RPGs that had no guidance?
They were shooting RPGs. They might have had something later on that would home in on a ship, but they didn't when I was there. They just threw up enough of them, you hope you wouldn't fly into them.
Yeah.
But no, it was a game.
Yeah.
You did whatever you could do, and he did whatever he could do.
Absolutely. And what were you doing during the Tet Offensive?
Mostly hiding in a bunker.
Mostly hiding in a bunker.
Yeah, because our runway 3-1 ran out to about you, and it cut off. And Charlie came from that village over there, right up the runway.
Where were you at this time?
I was on the ground.
Where in Vietnam?
In Phu Loy.
In Phu Loy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
on February 1st of '68?
Yeah, or January 31st, '68. Yeah, and you just laid down and shot at them.
They were attacking your airbase?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. If they could get up and run down through there and shoot up all those helicopters,
yeah,
that's $1 gazillion.
Was it MVA or VC that were attacking your airbase?
It was the 272nd and the 273rd VC regiment.
Mm.
One of them came up our runway and the other one, 272nd, I think, went to Saigon. And there wasn't anybody in Saigon except the 716th MP Battalion. You weren't allowed to carry a gun in Saigon. Of course, well, we all did.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, we had old B model Hueys then, didn't have any Cobras. And we had people that would load the things and they'd say clear, and we'd pick it up to a hover and set it back down and they'd load some more.
Oh.
So we just get up 6 feet off the ground and shoot.
Okay.
And
I thought you were saying that you were shooting a rifle.
No,
But no, you
we
actually got in your
rockets.
helicopter during the attack on the airbase.
Shooting rockets.
Yeah.
And you just pick it up and shoot and go back down and it'll reload.
At least you didn't have to worry about fuel.
Huh?
At least you didn't have to worry about fuel.
No. No, you could fly probably a couple of hours on the tank of fuel. A little bit more on the Cobra.
And about how many of the VC were killed at your airbase? Do you remember?
No, I remember there was a field that went about as far as from here to the next road intersection down there,
Yeah.
where you came up and turned on Mississippi.
Yeah.
A little further away than that. And there were body parts everywhere. Problem with rockets, as you shoot them with a rifle and they're going to lay down and die.
Yeah.
You shoot them with rockets and their
They're
ass
everywhere.
goes that way and a leg goes this way and an arm goes straight up. So you just got a bunch of body parts.
So was there a specific body part you tried to get for a count? Was it like a nose or something?
We let Graves registration people do that. No,
Okay.
They're just bits and pieces of people.
Yeah.
But it was,
Was your base a strategic position they were wanting to get, or were they just getting you to tie you down while they went after other targets?
No, they wanted to get it because it had a paved runway.
Oh, okay.
And you could, in a pinch, you could fly fighter jets or a bomber or a cargo plane or whatever in there. But no, they just wanted to shoot at us.
Mm-hmm. And about when did that die down? Was that?
Well, within 2 or 3 days, it kind of petered off.
Okay.
Because there was a lot going on up in Hue up north, and the Marines had their hands full. But the only people we ran into was the 273rd and the 272nd North Vietnamese regulars, and we pretty much wiped their ass out, and then followed them to Saigon and pretty much fly down the street. I had a roommate in college who was a lieutenant in the MPs down there, and so I called him. I said, "Hey, I'm coming." And he says, "All right," says, "fly down Tudo Street." And he says, I'll direct you. And I said, "Okay." So Tudo's where all the whorehouses were. And he said,
It's like the red light district?
Huh?
This is the red light district?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the whole place is a red light.
Well, right. But this is a hot spot.
This was a hot spot. So we'd fly down and he'd say, "All right, at the corner, second floor up, second window over. They've got a machine gun in there." You'd fly down the damn street, turn and raise up, put a pair of rockets in that window and break off and go down another street.
Wow.
And that was...
Were you in between buildings?
Yeah.
You had total mastery of this helicopter then. You were very confident in its abilities.
Well, shit, you had to be.
Yeah.
And I'd been flying it for August, September, October, November, December, January, February. I've been flying it for 7 months, so yeah, I felt comfortable in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was weak. And if you were going to carry passengers, they had to hold on to the strap, step on the ship, roll in, roll that up, stick it in the door frame, and then strap in and get their machine gun out.
Yeah.
That's the only way. It's the only way you could fly it. It's the only way you could take off.
Yeah.
But we got.
And that was after you had cleared them from your base, and you decided to go over to Saigon to as like a relief force.
Right. Yeah, we had already cleared this 273rd VC Regiment,
Mm-hmm.
and so I called Dave.
Did you take any prisoners?
Nah, shit, no.
There were no prisoners to take?
Fuck 'em.
Yeah.
Not enough left to make a prisoner.
Okay.
Because the rockets that we were firing were 21 pounds, 10-pound warhead. It had the same bursting radius as a 105 round, but didn't have quite as much punch as a 105.
Yeah.
And you only carried 14 of them, and you had to go land somewhere
Reload.
and get somebody to reload and take off and go shoot 14 more.
Yeah.
But the Cobra, you and your wingman together carried 152 of them. You could kick some ass.
Yeah. Were there any other helicopters flying into Saigon to help with that, or were you just on your own?
The only people that were allowed in Saigon were the Air Force, and they had to stay in the corridor at the Air Force.
Yeah.
Air Force, Ponsanute. And there was a circle with an H in it called Hotel 3. That was the pad that you flew to offload and load passengers.
Right. And didn't they also land a few people on top of the U.S. Embassy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah.
But the 716th MPs there, they were the only people in Saigon. Because you were not allowed to carry a weapon in there.
Yeah.
And everybody did. But it was different. It was different.
For sure. And when all that died down, did you also experience anything during what they called the mini Tet in May of that year?
Yeah, I was still there in May. They had a second round, but they used the same tactics and we kicked their ass.
Mm-hmm. Did they blow a bugle before they charged?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Um,
Did they use signal flares in Attack of the Night?
huh?
Were they using signal flares and attacking in the night?
No, because they wanted to stay as well hidden as they could right before they jump up and they're in your bed.
Yeah. Grab them by the belt, right? Isn't that what they said? Yeah.
Yeah, everybody slept with I slept with my 45 in the shoulder holster. You slept with your clothes on because you never knew when you were going to get scrambled.
Yeah.
And everybody had a sawed-off shotgun, and that will clear a path through the bushes.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have dragon's breath rounds?
I never had that. What was that?
That's the flame shotgun.
Nah, we were lucky to get double-aught buck. And
Yeah.
But well, I had a shotgun just like one of those. It was a 12-gauge pump.
Mm-hmm.
It worked.
And that's what you kept in the base?
Huh?
That's what you kept in the base?
Yeah, I kept that over my bed.
Yeah.
And so when I rolled out of bed, I grabbed that and grabbed my cat and went to the bunker. I had a cat named Ralph.
Ralph.
He was a pussy. He wouldn't go outside because the rats would get after him. So he'd go outside if you were outside.
Yes.
But he'd run back in, and when your mosquito net over your bed, that side stayed down, but this side you flipped up and it made a kind of a dip in there. Ralph slept in that, or when it came time to pull it down, he'd jump off and get in bed with you.
Yeah. Nice.